So we've been getting a lot of questions as far as tips and tricks on how to save money while paying off debt, especially when living in an expensive city. This video is for you if you just want to be a little bit more frugal as you're trying to reach your financial goals. And so we're going to talk about 10 oddball tips. And we say oddball just because they're a little different. And I'd be surprised if some of you guys did this. And so if you resonate with any of these tips, or if you actually do any of these, let us know in the comments and see if you actually get all 10, because then maybe you're as weird as us. So most of them we still do to this day.
We do.
I think there's a couple of them we don't do just because we don't live in a big city anymore. So let's dive in.
Tip number 1 is grocery shopping weekly, not monthly. And for a lot of people, it might be obvious, but for me, it was something I struggled with. I thought I was saving time, and in reality, I was losing a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of things would go to waste.
Yes.
Shopping like even 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks in advance. We thought we were being smart and saving time.
And in reality, like most of the time, like we were so busy in the city that sometimes we didn't cook from home. So if I had all these produce at home, they were going to waste because I wasn't using them because we were going out to eat because I didn't have time to come and cook.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started looking at videos and kind of like inspiration to kind of get me on track of just grocery shopping for the week. And I started making a list of things that I needed, and I would actually look at my pantry and my fridge and make sure I didn't have those stuff already, because then I was like double buying and I was using the stuff that was already in the fridge, and it was just like a mess. Like it was just wasting a lot of food. So I think that making a list of things that you're going to be using for the week and making sure that you're not going to go out to eat on certain days, it will save you a lot of money.
Yeah, and you typically do that on Mondays.
I do that on Mondays. Actually, I did today.
Yeah, you just did it.
I did it right now. Actually, I feel good knowing that we're actually going to be eating from home, especially now that I'm a stay-at-home mom and wife. I know that we're going to be eating healthier meals at home, and just knowing that I have like a plan for the week to, to like cook for my family. Yeah, it makes you feel good, that you're not going to be wasting food too. So exactly. Yeah.
And with along that line, I guess tip number 2 is meal prepping. So you want to talk more about that? It's kind of like your thing.
Meal prepping. I had to do that a lot, especially since I worked 12-hour shifts back home. 12 hours is a long time. I was up from like 5 in the morning, and I wouldn't come home till like 8:30, 9, depending on traffic. And so imagine like if I didn't prepare myself for the next day and make sure I was packing myself a lunch and breakfast, I was spending a lot of money, especially because I didn't have coffee. You have snacks. I worked in a medical field, so I was up on my feet for like 12 hours. So you get hungry and thirsty, and you just don't even realize how much money you're spending. Yeah,
because the hospital had good food, though.
They had really good food. I worked in a really nice hospital, but the food was so expensive. It was. It was really good, but it was really expensive, and it literally adds up. Yeah. And if I didn't meal prep for myself, I wasn't meal prepping for him, for Jeremy. And so when he was going to work, he was spending money too at work, even though you worked 8 hours, but still 2 people spending money for breakfast, lunch. Yeah, you're spending like dinner is a lot
$20 or $30 a day just on breakfast and lunch for both of us. Yep. Not including dinner if we decided to go eat that.
Yeah. And that goes back to like tip number 1. If you're not making a plan, meal prepping, all that food is going to waste. So you're spending money eating out and spending money grocery shopping, and you're just spending so much money on both ways.
You don't even realize it.
Yeah, you don't realize.
So tip number 3 is actually, this is a little weird, but eating out only during happy hour. And so it's like we actually kind of like located the places that we really like, and then just kind of like analyzed their happy hour menu, and then just kind of like once we got a routine down, understood, okay, what places were open at what time and what type of foods they offered on specific days. And
it sounds like a little bit like, oh, you're being cheap and everything, but honestly, if you live in the city, you know you have good food. You can't tell me you don't have no good food. Like Portland is known for their food. And happy hour was literally you getting a really good meal for a really good price. And so, you pick your restaurants that you like and you really enjoy, and you get really good food.
Totally. We were spending maybe $15 for 2 people. Yeah. And like getting like pretty good portions. Yep. And so kind of planning your eating out around happy hour, you save a lot of money there.
Yeah, you do.
And now there's not like too many restaurants around here, But I mean, even then, we don't really worry about happy hour anymore.
No.
Now that our debt is paid off. But when we were trying to save really intensely, like that was kind of like our go-to when we were eating out.
Especially because we knew we were spending so much money, like grocery shopping, and then spending all that money, and then losing all that money because we weren't preparing ourselves for the next day or meal prepping. We were kind of cautious, like, okay, we spent all this money and it's pretty much gone to waste. Like, at least we need to be cautious, like, how much money we spend.
It's so easy to eat out in the city because there's just so many good options.
There is a lot of good options.
There's so many good options. It's just so easy, and it's just, man.
Yeah.
But like I said, Portland had really good food, and if you've been there, like, you just know, like, there's so many different options. It's endless.
If you've never been to Portland, I mean, that's what you're gonna.
Yeah.
The first thing you're going to get to know of Portland, the food.
Yeah, the food culture is incredible.
Yeah. Tip number 4 is quality over quantity. And this is something Jeremy incorporated quickly, not me. But he started buying like more expensive quality clothes. And for a lot of people, it's like, oh, that's a waste of money. But in reality, especially when it comes to men's clothes, it's not. Jeremy has a really simple like wardrobe.
It's it's pretty
jean pants.
Yeah, it's black jeans.
Yeah.
And then some like neutral color shirts. And then
really nice jackets.
Yeah, some nice jackets for the winter, and then like a couple pair of tennis shoes, and then it's like a pair of brown boots.
Yeah.
And I paid like $200 or something like that for those boots. But those have lasted me for 4 or 5 years now. And so it's like if I take care of them.
Yeah.
Used to be shoe shiner, but that was back in the day.
And they still look really good. Like they look brand new when he shoe shines them. They look pretty new.
Yeah.
If, for instance, like in another example, if you spend $200 on a really good winter coat, you know that you're gonna take good care of it.
Sure.
You're not just gonna wash it and dry it and not care about it. You're gonna take good care of it. But for me, I love thrift shopping, and I think that's another way to kind of save money too, but you're also getting really good statement pieces and really good quality pieces.
I like the idea of thrift shopping. I don't have the patience for it.
You don't have the patience for it. He sometimes drops me off and waits for me in the car.
Yeah, like I just would rather not go that route. Another weird thing too, and let me know if you guys do this too, but like I will not buy like full cotton shirts because they fade over time. Plus, you get really hot in cotton. So I actually like the shirts that I buy are actually kind of like half polyester, half cotton, or some sort of synthetic material, just because they last longer and they're more breathable. And so I don't know if that's like, is that weird? Like, do you guys do that too at all? But like, I look for that type of stuff, and I'm willing to pay a little bit more so it doesn't fade and last longer.
Yeah, because sometimes with cotton, even if you like wash it, I mean, sometimes like. I mean, maybe you should just be air drying it, but even then, like I've air dried it, and just because of the washing, it just fades really weirdly. So we just don't really buy cotton anymore.
Yeah. So tip number 5 is, and I'm not going to touch too much on this, but downsizing. So downsizing to an apartment with less amenities, or maybe downsizing and kind of like humbling yourself and living with your parents for a little bit. And just got to remember, it's kind of like just for a season, right? It's not forever. And so we did both of those.
Yeah, and I think that you have to keep reminding yourself that, like, being positive and just be like, okay, this is just for a season and it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
So like living with your family is obviously like a little bit hard because you know there's everybody's different.
Yeah.
But for us, we did that and it worked out really great. We get on very well with my parents.
It's because we had 2 fridges, really.
We had 2 fridges.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, people
one was ours, one was for them.
Exactly. So I think that's the key. Just get a separate fridge, and I think it'll go really well.
Yeah, but then he loves my mom's cooking, so that went perfect.
Well, she loved feeding me, so. Yeah. So tip number 6 has to do with the internet. And so I just had to do this because for the internet, I had to call my provider because they were about to increase my rate to $70 instead of the $50 it was. And I was surprised, like, what is going on here? Why are they just gonna raise it? Well, first off, there's no competition around here, but in the city, there's a lot more competition. So what you can do is you can call them up. This is what I recommend you doing. You call them up and you say, hey, I wanna cancel my service, and they'll try to keep you on, but then they'll transfer you to somebody else. And so once they transfer you, they're gonna offer you deals to keep you on. And so that's when you can kind of negotiate a little bit more. And so that's what I did. I just like, hey, I'm going to cancel my service because I'm not paying $70 a month for okay internet. And so they transferred me over, talked to somebody, and then there was a couple deals that they offered me, and one of them was like faster internet for only $5 more. And so it's like, so now I'm paying $55 for up to 400 megabytes per second faster internet. And so really negotiate with them, or even just cancel. If you live in a big city, like cancel and go
find another option.
Find another option, or maybe just use your hotspot of your phone if you don't do, video streaming like we do or anything like that. Or uploading videos to YouTube and things like that. So internet's really important for us. But look at that option and negotiate when it comes to your internet. I'm really surprised that internet is not really cheaper nowadays, like because
everybody uses it.
We all use it for everything. We rely on it. But I think it's just because there's just no competition. Really, it's like.
Tip number 7 is getting into your family's cell phone plan or getting a prepaid carrier. And for us, we first started off with my sister and my brother-in-law when we were trying to save money, and we were paying like $35 for both of us because he had a whole bunch of people also on that plan. And so that was saving us a lot of money because right now we actually pay $120 for just us two. We have T-Mobile.
We had to switch because he was on AT&T and just AT&T wasn't working for us in the area that we were living in. So now we're paying $120 a month for 2 lines, but realizing, hey, we can just save a lot more. And so we're thinking about going prepaid. I think if you heard of Mint Mobile or Visible. So Mint Mobile is like, they operate on T-Mobile towers, and then Visible operates on Verizon towers. And it's an alternatively just a lot cheaper rate. And it's like between $15 to $40 a month being on prepaid per person, per line. And so that's the route that we're probably going to take even now to just save a little bit more money.
And what's nice also is that you don't have a commitment with them, so you can always like just switch it up if you don't want it anymore.
And I like that idea. So, and plus I feel like, with this whole situation and the pandemic, like, I mean, we're just home a lot more often and using the Wi-Fi, so it's like, why do we need some glorious reception or anything like that?
Tip number 8 is having one car or living close to your work. Especially if you're living in the city, in the big city, you can actually save a lot of money if you live close to your work, or if you have one car. Cars can get typically like really expensive, especially if you have like maintenance to do for them. You also have you have to have backup money just in case something happens to your car and you don't have to pull out of your savings. That's something we've always done. And living close to your work can save you a lot of money because you can use the bus, you can use your bike, get some of your workout done. You can use the Max, or you can even Uber for really cheap, especially if you're living like 5-10 minutes from your work and you can't use any other transportation. Using Uber is still pretty cheap.
It may be cheaper than buying a car, right? Because if you think about it, like a brand new car, if you're financing it, $250 to $300 a month. Plus insurance, let's say another $150. There you got $450, not including gas. Maybe with gas, another $150, $600, and not including maintenance. So it's like that is a lot of money just to add another car, and the insurance is higher if it's new. If your car is newer. So that's what we realized that, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna make it work with one car, even if I have to take you to work, which is what we did, take each other to work. And we made it work while we were trying to save money. Now we got 2, both paid off. But one car we had for a long time.
And also, if you live in the big city, sometimes your job knows that you have to use different transportations. So ask around and see if they actually have deals for your job, because they actually had that for my job. Like in my hospital, they knew that we had to use different types of transportation. So we had like really good deals for like taking the bus every day. So it was like half of what you would typically spend if you weren't working for the hospital. Or Uber also sometimes gave us free rides because we worked for the hospital. So
look into the deals. And tip number 9 also has to do with cars, but typically with insurance. So if you're getting insurance, I do not recommend going through one of these big box retailers like Farmers, Allstate, Geico, different like that. I would check them out, but what I found like the cheapest rates is I go to brokers. So I find auto insurance brokers, and I tell them, what I'm looking for, and they go and search the best rates for me. And so like imagine having, you reach out to 2 or 3 different auto brokers. They will go and search multiple different companies and find the best rate for you because they are working for you, and their best interest is for you to save you money. But also insurance is all about saving money, right? You do want some protection. And another tip along with that insurance is, what I did was, because we had emergency savings, we had savings all along, and so we increased our collision and comprehensive up to $2,000, right? And so that meant our deductible, our premium, this is really confusing, right? The premium is what you pay every single month to your car insurance, right? And so typically someone's collision and comprehensive deductible is between 500 maybe down to 100, right? And so because if anything happens, you get in a wreck or something like that, or you hit a deer, then you only have to pay 500 to 100. But if you increase your collision and your comprehensive deductible up to 2,000, then your premium, what you pay monthly, goes down. And so if you're just, you don't get in accidents, or, you know what I mean? Like, what are the chances of that happening? I've never been in an accident, but if you're prone to getting in accidents, okay, then I can understand maybe keep the lower comprehensive and collision dedeductible. But if you just
drive fast.
Yeah, I mean, I've had those days, right? I mean, I got a lot of tickets for speeding, but now I've lightened up a little bit. But now that I'm a little bit better, I'm a safer driver, and I've never got in an accident. And so if you don't get in accidents, just increase your deductibles and make sure you have an emergency fund that covers that just in case anything happens. Yeah. But if you have an older car, just increase that completely, because if the older car, if you get in an accident, it's probably gonna get totaled anyways. Final tip we have for you is use credit cards to travel. Use credit cards wisely to travel.
Yeah, we don't recommend you getting credit cards if you are not good with them. I was in that route. I did all that. I learned from Jeremy. I am more responsible now. But if you are not responsible, stay away from the credit cards.
Yeah, we literally save thousands. Like our friend who just asked us, like, hey, how do I save money? Because I'm going on my honeymoon. And so we help them get the right credit card. And now basically they get a free trip to Rome, Greece, and all on the credit card points. And so I actually have a video on that, and I'll link it down below to help you out. But that saved us. I mean, to this day, we use that. Like, we don't pay for travel, at least one of the major. We don't pay for transportation or airfare or lodging. So it's like one of those major things that when we're going on a trip, we at least don't pay for one of those.
Yeah. Which even, like, when you're trying to get out of debt, that's one of the things that people don't want to let go. Like, they still want to explore. They still want to do something. So that's one of the ways that you can actually save a lot of money and still do something fun while you're getting out of debt.
Exactly. So those are our top 10 tips. I don't know if they're top 10, but those are the top, like, oddball sort of tips. Hope that was helpful. And hit the like button if that was helpful.
Yeah. And let us know in the comments if you use any of these methods.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.